Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really happy to introduce you to today's guest, Dr. Cynthia Tant. Cynthia is a broker-owner of Gulf Coast Home Experts and Gulf Coast Real Estate Management. She is an author, certified distressed property expert, 2014 Realtor of the Year, and she's the current president of the Women's Council of Realtors, Pensacola Bay Area Chapter. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you today.
I'm really excited to talk to you. So before we get into the meaty questions, can you give me a brief thumbnail sketch of your background? What made you decide to get into real estate?
Well, prior to my real estate career, I spent 20 years in academia as a professor of biomechanics, and towards the end of my tenure there, I started investing in the early 90s in real estate, and as the investment process went really well, I just kind of ventured into the real estate profession and opened my own company.
Oh, well, that's really an interesting leap from being a professor of biomechanics to going into real estate. And you're in the Pensacola Bay Area of Florida, so that's probably a pretty unique area. For example, that area is in the Central Time Zone and not in the Eastern Time Zone, which I just learned. I didn't even realize that we had two time zones in Florida. So what area of business are you the most passionate about, and why?
Well, right now, I'm working with a large number of investors, and I have a slogan because I have several businesses that can relate to this. Is we find it, fix it, flip it, or rent it. And I just love the whole process. As being an investor myself, I have that experience to share with people. And it's whether you're a new investor just trying to get started or a seasoned pro. So that's right now the business that I'm primarily concentrating on.
So you like to work with investors. I like that. Find it, fix it, flip it, or rent it. Of those things, the flip it or rent it, what option do most investors go with in right now in this market?
Well, right now it's more of a hold market as far as holding on to it for long-term cash flow possibilities. There are some possibilities for flipping, but the margins aren't as great as they would like for them to be. And so it's always dependent on the end game. What does the investor want out of it for their investment money? So we start with that to make sure we get the end game up front to figure out, do they want to just take some cash real quick, or do they want to spend more time for a long-term retirement type of scenario?
That's really interesting to me, and I want to just stay on this topic a little bit longer. With new investors, if you were to give a new investor 3 things that they really need to know about, what would you tell them?
Well, from a new investor standpoint, first we have to, I always ask them, my first question is, well, why do you want to do this? And so, because then I get all kinds of answers. Well, I can make some money, and, you kind of go through the whole scale. But they need to really know why are they getting into the investment process, especially if they're going to do it themselves, which a lot try to do and then realize that's not the way to go, or if they're going to have somebody else actually do the work if it's a complete rehab project. So we have to look at what's their why are they doing it, also how they will do it. Number 2 is, will they be their own do-it-yourselfer, or will they have other help? And then number 3, I always want to know, what is their end game? Again, are they going to hold it for cash flow? Because if they don't know their end game, then we're just going in there and there's no direction.
Right. So it's like, I'm going to go buy this investment property. Now what?
Correct.
I can imagine. So with your seasoned pros, what are the seasoned pros? Obviously, if they have that, are they constantly on the lookout for investment property, or do they have an ebb and a flow of how that works?
Well, we are constantly looking for, for an example, I have one investor that all he wants to do is buy concrete block houses under $50,000. So I know what he wants. And then his long-term game is he actually holds on to them for cash flow purposes. And yes, we here in Pensacola have houses actually in $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range that you actually can live in, which most people don't realize or even think about that. But so I do have my investors have their list of what they're looking for. Another one may want to do just multifamilies. So we're always on the lookout for those. Our inventory is rather low right now. It's kind of around the nation, it's rather low, but especially here. So we're having a little bit more difficult time, but they're patient. Now the seasoned pros, they have their numbers down. They know what they're looking for. They know what their margins are, and they also they have a pattern. So, for example, if someone's more interested in the real estate market and they say, within the next 10 years, I want to have 30 homes so that their rentals, so that that's going to be their income coming in on a monthly basis, then that's what we go for. A lot of people right now have cash, and that's cash is king, and it's not making them any money anywhere else. So if we can get them in with a property where they're going to turn, anywhere from a 10 to 20% return, that's much better than they're getting on their money right now.
Oh, that would be phenomenal to get between 10 and 20% of return on your money. I could probably talk about this issue all day, but I'll go on. So we're talking about, since we're talking about your expertise, which are investors, I want to address the issue how you mentioned briefly that some people try to do this alone, and they don't think it matters who you get for an agent as long as they just get to see the property and, and they seem to think they can do it yourself. What are your thoughts about this perception that it really doesn't matter who your agent is?
Well, I totally disagree with that perception. The agents, we as agents, we're professionals. I mean, it was just like if you're going to have brain surgery, you go to a brain surgeon. You don't go to a heart doctor. Same thing with real estate is that go to the professionals because we have the pulse of the market. For me, especially working with an investor, I can run the numbers. I can look at comparables so that we know what we're looking at. A lot of people, and again, we have the companies that come through town and they say they'll help you find houses and do all this kind of stuff and they charge you money.
You see the signs on the side of the road.
Yeah.
We buy houses, cash.
Right.
I've seen those.
And the fault of now there's very good education, very good information with those companies. But the fault is unless you use a local, experienced professional in the real estate industry, you don't have the benefit of our knowledge. And so if someone does become an investor, or you want to become an investor, there are differences between real estate agents also. It's really hard to work with a real estate agent who has no investment background because they don't know the terms. They don't know the things that you need to know on cash return, things like that a individual who does work with investors knows. So for the beginning investor, whatever area you're in, go find yourself a realtor who is an investor themselves, and they're going to be the best ones to help you. That's how I got started. My brother and I invested in the early 90s, and the person that we went to was a real estate investor herself, and so she was able to give us a lot of deals that she found for herself but didn't have the money at the time to purchase. So we did very well during that time, and that's how I started in the investment process.
So really, you create a relationship with your investors, and you're always watching for, what's going on in the marketplace. You can see opportunities before other people because you're watching that market so closely. And then, of course, because you have that relationship and you have their list of requirements, it's like, boom, hey, I found what you want. That is really phenomenal when you think about it. And I can really understand an investor. They often think, oh, well, I can do this by myself. But really, if you have someone like you who's got, like you said, you've been doing this since the 90s, and you know the area, you know exactly what's going on in the market, the ups and downs, that is just so valuable to have you're like, the real estate investment advisor, to them. And I just think that's really phenomenal. So when you're selling these different properties, you mentioned about people who look for the inexpensive properties. Are there investment opportunities with luxury homes or higher end properties?
Yes, there are. It's just a different kind of concept or purpose. Because we are a beach community, beautiful sandy white beaches here in Pensacola, we have a lot of vacation rentals that are on the beach. And so, again, that's another different avenue to go. The market is still pretty good. There was a time that there was just no reason to buy an investment property on the beach from a luxury standpoint, because you just couldn't make the numbers work. Now, a lot of people, if they're not investors, but they just want their family to have the opportunity to come to the beach where we're at, they're looking for a lifestyle in the condos that they purchase or the beach homes that they purchase. They're not necessarily looking for the first-time home buyer or the first-time investor. I don't have too many first-time home buyers that are going to buy their first home and be a $500,000 beach house. It just doesn't work.
Right.
But yeah, the luxury market is there. It's usually more for lifestyle versus you're actually going to live in it personally. And it could be a way, a lot of, not necessarily here in Pensacola, but I know in the Miami area, a lot of the international buyers come in and buy because their money is not maybe as valuable in their country. So they come to the United States to buy investment luxury properties.
Oh, that's really interesting. So tell me about some of your recent business accomplishments. In the introduction, I said that you were the 2014 Realtor of the Year and this year's president of the Women's Council of Realtors. So tell me a little bit about what does that mean to be those things?
Well, it was very much an honor first to receive the Realtor of the Year. So obviously people believe that I do my job professionally and that I'm involved in the community and also with my clients, which a lot of them become some of my closest friends that we work together. Also being nominated, elected to the president of the Women's Council of Realtors, this has been quite an honor. And our biggest accomplishment this year occurred when our particular chapter, now we're the largest chapter in Pensacola, in Florida, which is kind of interesting because we're very small up here in the Panhandle, but we also were the winners of the mega chapter across the country. We won for retention, and that's a big honor that people, the women and men, we have been also that come into the Women's Council of Realtors here in Pensacola, our Women's Council in the Pensacola area, come back. They find value. They learn. They find relationships or have relationships. And we also do a huge referral network.
Oh, wow. That's pretty phenomenal. So obviously, not only are you an investor and the owner of your company, but you're also a leader and a community leader at that. I want to talk a little bit about leadership and those, because obviously you are a leader of the different groups and organizations, and to have that type of honor, for retention really says a lot about that organization and the leadership. So what are some leadership qualities that you admire and why?
Well, first off, in our profession, we kind of get sometimes a bad rap, like with car salesmen. And so I believe as far as a real estate professional that we first off need to be ethical. We need to be professional. We always need to do the right thing and let people know that we are professionals at getting and finding you the home or your dream home, or selling the home that you currently live in. The other thing is, as far as a leadership quality, I really believe confidence is very important. You need to know your market, and you have to have a team. I honestly believe that if you don't have a team around you, it's very hard to be successful in this business. And that could be within your own company that you work with, but also who do you work with. Real estate is a very massive group of people. You have your home inspectors, your mortgage lenders, your title companies, your appraisers, your termite inspectors, people who are going to make the repairs, which includes electricians and plumbers and you name it, that all that group of people, like if I know that I need an electrician, I've got a Rolodex of people that I can trust that I can go to. So having that teamwork, I also believe, is a good quality of a leader, because you can also use other individuals to help you with your transaction.
That's really interesting. What do you think has been the key element of your personal success and your business success?
Well, I think because of my past experience in academia, I previously started out as a college coach and ended up teaching in academia and the profession. But working with all types of people, I love teaching in a sense of seeing how people learn to, now it is, making an investment decision, or just going through the first-time home buyers process, because that's going to be their biggest investment. And you have to do a lot of hand-holding and assurances. And then even on the investment part of it, and the luxury properties too, is if they're buying their first one, what's this going to do to me? How am I going to benefit, sort of. So I really enjoy that teaching process of the best of my ability, so that they have a very good, I guess you would say a good, what's the word I'm trying to find, feeling that when they come out of it, they're happy, and that they're not going to worry about, well, did I make the wrong decision?
That is huge, because I know anytime you do anything for the first time, you really need a good advisor and someone who's done it many, many times, so that they can reassure you that, yes, this is a good choice for you. And like you said, it all started with a question, and the question is, well, why are you going to do this? And the same question should be asked of anybody buying their first home. Are you sure you want to buy your first home, and what are your reasons? Because for some people, home ownership may not really be the best choice for them, depending on what's going on in their lives. I want to ask you about some of the projects that you're working on and why you're excited about them. Can you tell me about some of the projects you're doing right now?
Well, sure. From the investment standpoint, I do have some investors that I'm working with, and we're working on some new homes that are being built with new builders. So that's been really nice to get involved in. I really am still excited about our Women's Council of Realtors and how we're working with it and promoting it, not only locally but through the state and the national. And we have a lot of community events, like, for example, raising funds for American Cancer Society. Coming up here in October, we're going to be doing a event where we're calling it, I can't remember exactly what the term is, but our local firemen are going to be showcasing bras that have been provided by the women for auction. And so we've got a group of really good-looking men who have volunteered to do this, and then we'll raise money for the American Cancer Society for breast cancer.
So do they decorate the bras in different themes? Yes, we have that here where I live, and those there are some pretty phenomenal pieces of art that come out of that based on different themes that I've seen. And then, of course, when the men model them, it becomes a very fun event. and it does raise a lot of money for a really good cause. And obviously the American Cancer Society is a phenomenal cause. So give me one or two things that you would really like to say to a prospective client about you or your services.
Well, first off, I like to say I'm a one-stop shop locally, because I do have the real estate brokerage and the rental management company. We also have a rehab company, and then we have some financing possibilities with different ways that we can work with people. So we're able to, I guess, help you all the way through the process, or just get you started. And that's kind of how I like to work. Also, when I think of if someone stumbles across this interview, I do have several books that if you go to www.cynthiatantauthor.com, request one of my books for free. One of them is how, if you want to sell your house on your own, it's a for sale by owner. Great, do it on your own. I'll be here to help when you may feel that you're overwhelmed with it. It does, so there's some different things to get information from me that way. So I would just say that locally, if you're local, we're a one-stop shop. If you're hearing me, then you're not local. Just ask for my book, and it'll help you out wherever you're at.
That's really good. What is the book about, or the title of the book?
Well, actually, I have 3 books. Oh. And so, so the one I was just talking about is For Sale by Owners. Okay. And so that one, that's what it says. And it's For Sale by Owner Guide. And then I have another one that a lot of people really like. It's called The Secret of Wealthy Home Sellers. It just talks about how you get your home ready to sell so that you get the top dollar with it. And then I do have another book out that is concerned with expireds. And that's when your house has been on the market forever and not sold. What are the reasons why it hasn't sold? So,
oh, wow. And those are at Cynthia Tant, author.com. Great. Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful. So since we're going into the summer months here, what are you planning on doing in the next few months, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, we are extremely busy in the summer months. That's where our busiest time frame of selling homes and moving people in and out of homes. So getting through the summer season is just my biggest accomplishment. And also finishing up my year as a Women's Council of Realtors president, and the other opportunities. We have our summer seminar in Orlando workshop. That's our big state one. And so it just getting through the summer, and it's pretty active, pretty run like crazy, but have a good time doing it. That's kind of my whole philosophy. Just if I'm not having a good time, which recently maybe not so much, but you got to have a good time in this business, or you'll lose your sanity.
So where can we find out more information about you and your services?
Well, I do have www.cynthiatant.com, and that's a generic with me personally. And then I also, for my company, one of the companies is www.gulfcoasthomeexperts.com. And I'm on Facebook, and just put my name in and you'll find me.
Okay, and that's Cynthia, Cynthia, Tant, Tant. Cynthia, I really, really appreciate all your insights into investments. Another time I might just talk to you about, investing because I really think that is a very interesting topic in the real estate market. And everything you were saying, I was like scribbling notes down about, the different things you were saying about making sure you understand your why you're going to invest, because I think that's something that many people they just don't realize, that they really better think about, are they going to, like what you said, are they going to flip it or rent it? Or are they going to buy it and rehab it, or what are they going to do? Because I know that I often thought, wow, wouldn't that really be cool? I'm going to go buy an investment property and we're going to rehab it and either flip it or rent it. And then the reality hits in that if you do not know how to do all this stuff, you have to hire somebody. And then how do you find the trusted contractors to do the work? And that's where I think you could come in, because like you said, you've been doing this so long that you have all of those contacts and those trusted advisors and workers to help people to be able to say, well, yeah, I can hire these people and get it done. And so there's that whole, like you said, that trust factor that you can provide to people, which I think is important. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, sure, yeah, and just one more comment about that, and also because you want a person locally that understands, like, if you're in a certain area of town, you don't want to overbuild for what that particular area is, and then your investment is, the house is not going to pull the amount of money that you want. So you want somebody who knows that area. So one house in one area could be one price and that you're going to put into, and then you got another house in another area where, you're not going to do the same kind of rehab work. So that's another thing about investing too.
Great. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, Cynthia.
Well, thank you too. This has been great. I appreciate it for you.
This is Tammy Pantzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.